Well, dear friends, greetings to all. Today I suggest you to see an interesting trap with no less interesting tactics in the French defense in white. e4, e6, d4, d5, and we have a French defense on the board. You can go to move, or you can play horse c3, and then theory, and herewith you can play horse b4. This is a variant of the Vinever. They can also play in a different way. Of course, they can take out horses there somehow or somewhere here. In general, there are different options, but this is also a fairly common option. This is a theoretical move, everything is fine. And here white usually plays with a pawn on the e5 field, receiving in response such an unusual undermining of c5, they play a3, exchanges, the structure deteriorates. But this is a normal theory, and I suggest that you try the bishop d2 move so that you don't spoil the pawn structure for the capture. But they can take a pawn on the field e4, it can be won back, but if we say we go to win back a pawn, then it will not be a very pleasant picture, because the queen will pass on the field d4, the knight of such a knight returns, the black knight develops, the white knight develops with pace, but the queen goes to b6. By the way, remember this retreat of the queen to b6, at some point it will be a critical yawn, by the way, but that is, there is such an option, and there is such a retreat. This field is interesting for the queen, because he looks at the pawn f2, somewhere he looks at the queen's flank, where white very often castles, but instead of all this, you can play the queen on the field f4, attacking the pawn e4 and attacking the pawn on the field w7, such a double blow, and this is probably the best solution. And here, black can still pick up on e4. They have two extra pawns so far. The queen protects the pawn w7, protects the pawn e4, everything is logical, but white goes into castling. For 2 pawns given away, white has better development. The queen is standing in front of leisure, threatening some very scary bishop splinters, and therefore, first black can chase, for example, the queen with a move of s5. If they try to play a knight on the field of f6, then the pawn is already under battle. Then the rook is under battle. Yes, you can attack, it will retreat somewhere for the whole, and there will be nothing particularly bad here. The best move, as far as I remember, is the pawn move on the field f5, but there can be as many as 5. And even before that, by the way, instead of castling, you can play a knight on the field f3. You can't take a knight, one pawn is won back for the retreat of the queen, then the queen is 7, black still has an extra pawn, but development. But all the same, I advise you to do castling, of course, to build such a terrible thing and to run away. The forward came up with a new run. The queen is a pawn from the h5 field, well, that is, the pawn is trying to walk somewhere and grab space, drive away the queen. The queen quietly goes to the h4 field. And do you remember this move? Right now it's scary still in black and does not go to the field of b6. Remember, I showed you in another version, where the move of queen b6 is, well, generally normal. This is a very calm, normal, good move. But friends, this is the crudest yawn, and a very simple beautiful tactic is happening here. This is a queen on the field of 8. The king is obliged to take the queen, there is no other move, getting a double check from the bishop and the rook, it is impossible to close from double checks. I keep saying, you won't have time to eat 2 at once, so you only have to retreat to the e8 field, and black gets such a loophole on the d8 field for their carelessness. Perhaps you will be able to build something similar. Such constructions are also found in the defense of Caro-Kann and in some other openings. In principle, the design of the rook plus the bishop opposite the queen is very strong things. The bishop can bounce off somewhere with a check and the rook will pick up the queen. Therefore, be careful when your opponent plays like this and try to make hidden threats yourself. Thank you so much for watching. I am waiting for your comments. I hope you like my videos, this format. So far it's convenient for me to take it off, it's interesting for me to take it off, it's interesting to disassemble it. I wish you happiness, health, do not forget to subscribe and of course a peaceful sky over your head. Bye bye.